Um, haven't been on here in a while. I've just been focusing on other things. I've created another business online, a website, which you can find it at as above, a witch's spot, where I basically sell tarot cards, dowsing rods, clothes, incense, anything pertaining to the spiritual, the metaphysical, divination tools, that kind of thing. Um, so I've been putting a lot of energy and effort into that as well. So, hey, Brittany. So I've been doing a lot of work on the website, and I'm dyslexic, so it's very hard for me to get it all set up and to make sense of what things are saying. And then when me being that technologically advanced as well, I come across a term and I have to stop and actually figure out what the fuck it means. Excuse the language. So yeah, it's a lot of Googling, and yeah, my hair is a friggin' mess. It's there, y'all. It's there. All the silver. So, how are you today, Miss Brittany? Saw you come in. I don't know if you're still in here or not. I should have said on my wall that I was going to come on here and let people know, because I've had probably 20 people in the last week and a half message me and say, "Oh, when are you going to go back on live?" And I had the time. Usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my days off, and so I don't really work. But I haven't done this in so long, it didn't really even feel like work as much as it felt like me just kind of coming on here and doing something I wanted to do. So it's nice. So are you still in here, Miss Brittany? I see an eyeball, but I don't know if that's you or not. You can jump up in here and we can start talking, have conversation. I have no idea why this is not scrolling up. I'm in the dream. Hi, John. I have been doing amazing, Brittany. Like I said, I've been working on the website, trying to get that going and set up. I still have a lot of work to do on it because there's probably 200 to 400 more things I want to put on there. And I've got to categorize it and all, but it's nice. So since I haven't seen you at all in a really long time, and you were the first one out the gate to come bust up in here, how about a freebie question, Miss Brittany? What do you want to know? And I'll give you a freebie on the house just to kind of say, hey, how you doing? And warm the room up a bit. My hands are crappy now, so I can't do the cards long ways. So I have to shuffle them from the sides. So I'm having to learn as my body works less ways and tricks to let me do what I gotta do. So think of you a question, Miss Brittany, that you want answered. My hair is so everywhere. All right. So you just want to do something you need to know. So basically you're saying general, whatever the universe wants you to know, whatever it feels like Brittany needs to be feeling. What does Miss Brittany need to know? That's Luke in the background. He's like, I had a container of caramels and it came in this hard plastic container. And he thinks any jug, any bottle is his. So I finished it off and let him have it. Okay, your health is whack. So let's look at the health and see what's going on with that then, because that's... Girl, I'll turn my camera in 1 second and let you see the rest of my house. Just overlook it because I got my vacuum cleaner out. Okay, let's see if we can flip the camera. So I have plants everywhere. There is like 104 plants downstairs alone. I see your jug. It's a beautiful jug. It's a great jug. Want me for a jug? I am doing wonderful, Ray. So, Brittany, as far as your health concerns, the first thing that comes up is, typically if it's like a lot of physical ailments, I get a lot of swords, indicating that it's physical in, the physical body. Your swords that come up are all in a reverse position. So it tells me it's internal. And the cards, like the swords that are coming up for you, you've got the Five of Swords, you've got the Seven of Swords. That is very much internal emotional. So the first one, you got that Five of Swords in reverse. It's saying that you're having a hard time picking up the pieces and letting go of things that you have that you really need to let go of. So the baggage, it's like a lot of stress that's really causing a lot of your problems. The second one is you've got the Seven of Swords, which kind of reiterates that whole Five of Swords of picking up the pieces, trying to move forward, trying to make sense of things. I think what's getting to you the most is you feel borderline pissed off low key because it's like you have all of these things and life is feeling very fragmented. It's almost as if nothing is going smoothly. And I'm not saying you're seeking perfection, but it's almost like every time you look and say, okay, well, I'm going to focus on this area, it's like bam, brick wall. And you're like, what the heck? And so it's like there's this whole chunk or piece that's missing. So, I mean, the biggest thing that's coming up with this also is you have the Five of Pentacles in a reverse position. So you feel like for some reason you've been deserted. People have isolated you. They've walked away from you. So here you are in this rut, in this funk, trying to figure things out, trying to pick up the pieces, rebuild, restructure, and you feel like you are completely alone in this. It's very much like all you have is your thoughts. And so you're like, what the hell do I do? And there's also this sense of within you, you've got the Chariot. The Chariot's all about movement. So I'm not saying you literally want to pick up and just run away, but it's almost like there's this desire within you for you to just like, it's almost like you've reached the point where you're like, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm trying. Everything's a mess. Everything is like in fractures. Panic disorder. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that Chariot's about you wanting to run from everything. It's almost like you feel like, okay, if everything is an issue and I cannot do anything about it, I'm just not even going to fucking address it. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to handle it. I am just going to let the fucking fairies take it. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where you're at. Um, for me, with all those cards, I feel like so much of the physical issues are a direct result of the mental, emotional, and spiritual. My advice to you is since everything is so scattered energetically, and a lot of it is perspective, because I don't feel like your life is nearly as chaotic or as damaged as you see it as being, if that makes sense. So I feel like you definitely need to do some grounding exercises. You need to make a point to smudge, even if it's going and sitting in the bath for 20 fucking minutes and just putting on some music. You need to find something to call you back to you so that you can relax and you can kind of balance you out. Yeah. Um when you okay, this is one reason I don't work a lot when I feel bad. When you are vulnerable or you're sick or you feel bad, you cannot guard or block as well as you typically do. And so spirit communications, any kind of spirit. When I say spirit, I don't just mean the deceased. I mean, you've got lower levels. You've got things that people can't comprehend, like fucking fairies and, elementals. They're all going to make a point to pop up. It's almost like they say, oh, wow, she's vulnerable. She's weak right now. Let's go jump in on her. And so that's why it's crucial that you do a whole bunch of, hey, Miss Vicky, of grounding, centering, and clearing, and taking the point to really regroup and kind of balance out, because I feel like that's going to help you so much with the physical. Y'all, let me move this tight. You know that's a towel. Why you think it's going to kill you? That it ain't going to hurt you none. It's a towel. I had it there so it would dry because I washed my head, you idiot. Oh, Lord have mercy. That dog is crazy. He is very much about like, okay, this is where this goes. This is how it's supposed to be. You done put something in the wrong spot. So I'm going to get grumpy about it. He will go and nudge it or pull it down or move it and grumble about it. Like, this ain't supposed to be here. Motherfucker done put it in the wrong spot. He's always got something to say. I washed my hair earlier. That's the reason it's like flying everywhere. If I take it down. Y'all, look at all that gray. Look at all that gray. But I washed my hair earlier, so I had the towel sitting over there kind of hanging on the dryer. Well, not the dryer, the vacuum cleaner, so it could dry. And this dog's like, oh, this don't go here. Your ears are ringing right now because it's spirit. You're hearing the truth. When you get those ear ringing, is basically the divine saying, pay attention. And that's for anybody. If you're in a situation that's stressful, or you feeling like, if you coming out of a store, it's dark 30, and then you the only one in the parking lot and your ears start ringing, that's the divine saying, pay attention. So, well, thank you. So, yeah, I had my hair cut a couple months back, and since I did, you can't really hide the silver anymore. Used to, because my hair is really darker on the outside than it is on the inside. And so, used to, I could hide it. I'd just pull it up in a knot on my head and there wouldn't be no problems. And now it's like, bitch, you done entered chromedom. You old as hell. You got all that silver. So it is what it is. Well, thank you, Brittany. I'm glad I look amazing. I feel pretty good. Okay, here's the situation. You can try to block all you want, but all it's gonna do is physically make you feel worse. It's gonna give you a headache, it's gonna give you tension, you're gonna hurt down the side of your neck. You're gonna feel like somebody done put pressure points in your shoulders. That's because you need to do massive ground center and clears. You probably honestly need somebody to go in and work on you and just do a hardcore reboot, a deep cleanse, chakra alignment, kind of clean slate you. That way you can maintain it and get it to a healthy spot instead of, right now it's like you're trying to dig yourself out of a sand pit. You need help at this point, probably. But so hello, Angela. I'm just randomly gonna throw balls. I'm a person to do that. Well, I do. Yeah, you just hit me up and I know you. So I mean, if finances is the issue, I don't do it for everybody, but I absolutely got no problem doing like payment plans. I will let people put that shit on, put a read on layaway, put some energy work on layaway. Because I know sometimes you need it, but you just don't have it. And you're like, oh, I got $20 to put toward it, but I ain't never going to have 50 or 60 at the same time. And shit, layaway, I ain't mad at it. I let people put time on the books. Yeah. I think everybody's dreams have been bananas also. We had a lot of planets in retrograde, and a lot of it was about endings. It was about bringing clarity to people. Girl, I do simple one questions and stuff in my inbox all the time. So you can always hit me up and be like, hey, look, I'll shoot you a 10 if you answer these questions, and I will work it in my schedule. So you don't even have to have a live to do that part. But like I just said, if you want to work toward getting like an hour session or whatever, you can say, okay, look, here's $20 toward it. And you can just put like $20 a week on it until you get it paid. I'm really easy. I want to help people. I want to work with people. So I'm very much about, helping them get whatever they need. Lord, I would have done ripped my whole fucking uterus out. I would have been just ripping uterus out. You look, I got my fallopian tubes swinging them in the air. I'd been like, hell no. I love children. I love children to pieces. I love them so much. But I love the ones that I can send home to their mamas. I love the ones that I can spoil rotten, and love them, and then them go somebody home. They go home with somebody else. Because as I have aged, my patience has dropped greatly. I look back and I think to myself, how in hell did I have? I had three, and they was all, I had a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a newborn at one point. And my 6-year-old was mentally and emotionally handicapped, and that was basically like having newborn in a lot of ways. We were taking in a little wine tonight. I wish we were. Should we? There ain't no way. There is no way in hell right now that I could go back and, if somebody asked me, they said, what would you do if one of your children had a baby and, you had to raise it? Well, knock on wood, none of my children had babies, which I'm glad because they ain't none of them ready for it. My baby's 18. My oldest is 25. I'm so glad. Hopefully they have a baby. They're going to be in a place and in a situation where they can handle that baby on their own. Grandma will love it. Grandma will spoil it. I will make it pretty little blankets if my hands allow it. I will spoil the shit out of it. We be making cookies and decorating and all that at Christmas and Halloween and everything. But you going home to mama. And I've got to the point now where my house is not kid friendly, I can't see you. How you doing? I don't know why. Used to, when I would log on here, it would let me see all the comments from my other socials, like the people on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of that, and it would just kind of pull them in. I went in today and made sure, just verified that I had everything linked up, and everything's supposed to be linked up, but I still can't see my comments on the other sides. You better hush your mouth. I already homeschooled 3. I don't want to homeschool 3 grandkids. No. Shoot. Yeah, I showed all my plants earlier. I did a little pan around of the room. I got a bunch. My counter is all things I've got to, propagate, switch pots on. Because my plants, what I did with a lot of them is I did pay for some outright, but I was smart. I tried to go and find things that people were interested in and collecting that were trending, and I bought it. And I tried to get things that were easy to propagate or make new plants from. So I would get mine how I wanted it. And then anything that came off of it, like as far as growth, I would propagate it and trade for something I didn't have. So I only bought maybe half of my plants. The rest were from trades. And now I've gotten everything to the point where I'm content with what I have. So I'm just kind of selling them on the side, propagating them, trading them. Your kiddo broke it off. There's so many. Oh, okay. You're talking about with toxicity. I don't want to elaborate, but I'm hoping that you will understand what I mean, Miss Jessica. Oh, yeah, and I am doing reads. So y'all can absolutely donate through PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Apple Pay if you got my information, Facebook payments. I'll take it all. I am so glad to hear that, Jessica. That makes me feel better. It was needed. So I'm glad that situation is resolving itself. Should make everything else fall right into place. So good to go. Oh my goodness. Ugh. It feels so weird because I've shuffled cards my entire life. Well, not my entire life. I started at like 7, 8, 9. And I just can't shuffle them the right way anymore. I have to do it from the side. It feels weird. but you see my fingers all swollen and knots are all there. And I don't have any knuckles here anymore. They're just blobs of swollen. Good job. See, he's doing good. I'm proud of him. I'm just going to keep on getting better. We're going to claim it for him. We're going to claim it. We're going to set it up. It's weird. I was just shuffling. You get the King of Swords upright. So it's basically saying he's in control of the circumstances and the situations, and he can face the battles and deal with them, and that he can handle whatever life throws at him. He's facing it head on. So, I mean, look at that. That's kind of like a little positive sign right there. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I like jumpers. All you people are so quiet. You're in here. I see you. And nobody's talking about Miss Jessica. Ain't nobody want to jump in and talk about some thingy things? Oh yeah, you guys have got to go check out my shop. It's if you look online, it's called As Above, a Witch's Spot. It's got tarot cards, dowsing rods, altar cloths. It's got clothes. It's got purses. It's all pertaining to the spiritual, the metaphysical. It's got stones. It's now with the tarot cards, I've got to go in, and I'm still, like I said earlier, working on the site. So if you look and you just see the initial deck, like if you see where it just shows a Rider-Waite deck, if you go in and click on that, what that's going to do is it's not going to have just the Rider-Waite deck. I've got to go in and format it a little differently. It's actually going to have every deck that's available from that supplier. So you may look and just see a Rider-Waite deck, but when you click the link, it's going to have 17 to 23 different decks below that. So I've got to go in and format it so that each one has their own page. We want to talk about your back. Okay. You're talking about here now, or you want to do it privately? Because I was like, okay, we'll do it right now. I'm trying to figure out what this is. Okay, I'll just give it to you as I see it because I'm trying to make sense of it. Go ahead and lay these cards for validation. Yeah, the moon card, Queen Cups, Empress. Fine. Okay. What I was seeing in my head is because when I kind of like click in and start asking the questions, the first thing I saw is I get a younger male, almost to the point where I'm old school. Growing up, you'd be back home and you wouldn't want to see a new doctor because he just didn't have any seasoning on him. Yeah, I almost feel like this doctor is really, really young. I feel like, to older people, they'd be like, he ain't got no seasoning on him, so they'd be hesitant to even see him and deal with him. Like I said, I feel like he's a new doctor to you. He's someone you haven't really saw that much. And then I kind of zoomed in on the back, and it was very weird because I saw three separate pieces. It was almost like there were three little rocks, almost in a triangle, kind of offset. And there was two larger ones and a smaller one. And it was almost like that was the whole problem. It's almost like in the back, it's like the princess and the pea. You know how like she had a pea under the mattress and she could feel it. It's almost like there's gravel in between the joints or something. And it's like that needs to be removed, whatever that is. So I do definitely think you're going to have surgery on that back. But I do feel like you're in good hands. I feel like the doctor knows what he's doing. I feel like it's a relatively simple fix. I mean, honestly, if I were you, I would be pissed because so much of the other circumstances and situations has been a result of this. And it's almost like nobody knew because no one would dig deep enough. It's almost like he came in and knew exactly, or he knows exactly what this is. So I hope you are understanding it. He's another hot doctor. He feels young though. I mean, I really feel like he's like super young. He's maybe like 32. He's a baby doctor, baby faced. I would say he was handsome if I were straight. Would he? I would say he's handsome with me not being straight. But I do feel like he's highly intelligent. I felt like it's one of those situations where he's in the right place at the right time and he knows exactly what it is. It's almost like, I don't want to say he's an angel, but you know how sometimes in your life you just need somebody that has a very particular set of knowledge. And I feel like he has this particular set of knowledge. It's almost like whatever's going on with you, he by fluke studied previously. So as he's looking at you, he sees it. It's that kind of situation. You do have the moon card, which is the insight. So I do feel like that's just the divine coming in saying things are going to be better, things are going to get easier. You come across as the Queen of Cups in reverse position. So that's the mental health for you. So I do feel like right now, okay, I will be there. Um, right now with you with that Queen of Cups in reverse position, I feel like you are just kind of overloaded. I feel like you have zero self-love for you. It's almost like you're pissed at you because you're not doing more, because you are limited, because you can't be the person that you want to be or that you feel you've been programmed that you are supposed to be. And it's just a lot of, I don't want to say self-hate, but there's a lot of negative self-talk. And there's also aggravation because the Magician comes up in a reverse position across you. So it's very much a situation where you feel like you've busted your ass, you've grinded away, you did everything you need to do. We're getting there. But it's almost like you've done everything you need to do. You've handled everything that's been tossed at you, and you're just aggravated because doors are not opening. And we've been told, okay, that you do right, you do what you're supposed to do, and things will come easy, and it's not. Um, Now, next, you have the King of Swords that comes up in a reverse position. So I'm gonna hope this is not the guy you're talking about. We'll lay some clarifiers. Okay, so we have the King of Swords that comes up in a reverse position. This is in relationships. So as I said, we're getting there because it was literally the next card. Um, I feel like with him being in that reverse position and the swords coming in a reverse, that he has a lot of issues he has himself. He's got a lot of things he needs to address and deal with his own personal stability that he has been neglecting. Part of me, I'm brutal. I feel like you want someone because of all the things that was said in the last two cards before this. So, you want a relationship. You don't want to be alone. You want someone to be there that you can express things to and understand things. And you're really seeking a relationship. But also, part of me recognizes and acknowledges the fact that you feel compelled to fix broken people. Now, for him to come out with that King of Swords and to lead out with that tells me that he's got a lot of damage and brokenness inside of him. And it concerns me that you feel that tug to fix it. And at the same time, it's almost like while you're fixing him, you settle to have somebody there. Like I said, I'm brutally honest. You're seeking stability because you have the Three of Wands that comes up on the clarifier. So you're wanting a relationship where there's stability, you work together and do things. But I feel like with him, his mentality, his mental standpoint is the Hermit. And it doesn't feel like a therapeutic shutdown or a therapeutic reprieve or break or him setting down. It very much feels like when shit hits the fan or he is stressed, he pulls down. It's like he does not know how to handle stress. He does not know how. Luke, I need for you to not move the thing, babe. Okay. Yeah, we don't want to play ball right now. Okay. We'll play later. We'll play with rope later. But it's like he doesn't know how to handle the stresses because swords are the things that cause strife, chaos, confusion in life. They are the things that hurt you. And so, I think, it could also be a situation where you are seeking that stability with that Three of Wands. And you're hoping that he can give it to you. But like I said, he's got his own issues. For him to come up as that card in a reverse position, that's saying he's got a lot of things he hasn't dealt with, or either he's not wanting to deal with. And I don't see a lot of cards for transformation with him. I mean, he even has the Hermit that comes up. So he's pretty much locked in that mode. So I feel like it's a situation where he doesn't even want to see his own inner demons deal with him as far as shadow work, that kind of thing. So that's a little concerning. Um, so it's a little concerning. I mean, I just don't want you to go and open your heart up and just dive all the way in to end up getting hurt again because someone proves to not be emotionally available or responsible. And I don't want you to settle, like I said, because you have that desire to fix someone so much that you settle to have companionship while you fix them. We're not playing rope, hunky. Stop it. We're not doing rope. Not doing the rope. No. No. Hi, Leeds. Hi, England. Exactly. He will not leave his own situation. It's almost like it's the devil he knows. Sometimes people get in comfortable positions, and if all you know is stress and chaos, and you've never began to work through your inner issues, sometimes it's really scary to say, okay, I need to address this and I need to work on this and move forward. And I feel like he doesn't have that in him. Girl, you got to quit trying to fix. The only thing you really need to ever try to fix is yourself or your children, until they reach a point where they can fix their own shit. But you can't fix people because I don't care how hard you try. If they're not willing to fix themselves, nothing's going to happen. And I'm saying this as someone who does the same thing, okay? So I think right now the biggest thing you need to do is just take care of your health. Focus on your health. You've got family things going on right now. Focus on that. I'm not saying just tell him to go F off, but I am saying do not put so much weight in it. Let it be a companionship thing right now. Let him, sit back and watch and see if through your interaction he begins to feel a little more comfortable and initiate those changes. Because, we're not all locked in these patterns. We have the ability to change, I wouldn't put a lot of weight in it right now. Like I just said, you can keep him around and see if through your interactions with him, he begins to feel more comfortable and he begins to open up and change. But if I didn't see change, in the next 3 months or something, I would say, okay, it is what it is. It's kind of written in stone, and I would not invest the time and the effort. Because, as I'm saying it, you're saying, yeah, that's him, that's his behaviors. So you're already seeing these things. And if you're already seeing it, you're acknowledging it. And so it tells me it's already got on your nerves to some degree. So, you already knowing what I'm saying. So you're going outside because you hear them watering off your patio. You don't need to go outside right now because you want to bark. And then your neighbors will get mad. Neighbors get mad. They don't like hearing Luke bark. We'll go out when he gets through. That way you don't bark, okay? You just went out right before I got on here. So I know you're fine. Yeah, most readings are strictly confirmation. Most of the time, the blue next to her name is Facebook. Oh, the little blue tabs, Facebook. See? I did not know this. Thank you for that information, Allison. You have educated me in the ways of herbs. Let's go back up here to this individual. Sanazo. Hi, I do my reads by donation through PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. I do not just do free reads, unless I really get compelled to someone, and then I will hook them up. I wasn't sure. Well, I didn't know. I don't get on here that often. I really should get on here more often, but I have no idea. I had no idea the little blue thing. Honestly, I never even paid attention to the little blue tab until you were like, "Oh, that's Facebook." So now I know. Insert rainbow. Dun 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 dun. Okay. All right. You are very welcome. So who is next? Who else wants to do it? I haven't received any donations. So you literally could be next. There's no list at this point because, like I said, I didn't know I was going to come on here. Hi there, Miss. How are you doing? I was wondering if I can ask a question by any chance. You absolutely can ask a question. I do it by donation. It's a minimum of $5. You can pay through PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. And I will absolutely get you in and we can do a read. Well, you're welcome. So red is YouTube. Okay. Thank you, Allison, for doing all of this background work. So red is YouTube, blue is Facebook. I'm assuming if it doesn't have a tab, then it's just like here, I guess. Thank you. I'm gonna have to give you a bonus question. You can ask a question just because you're doing all the background hustle. Look at you. Ooh, wee. Appreciation. Got to figure it out. So since you're helping me out so much, Miss Allison, you want to ask a question? You got something that's been playing on your mind that you need an answer to, that you need to know? Let me scroll down really quickly. All right. Yeah. Did I hear words? I'm going to have to go to what I need. Okay, so you just saying in general. Buddy, we're not playing rope right now. You can bring me every rope in the house and it's still not going to happen. It's not Luke time right now. No. No. Mom's working. Mom's working. You must get out. Get down. Do not want to see you. I'm not here for that. Hi. You gonna look at the phone? Okay. Girl, I feel you. I had 3. I know all about it. He's so nosy. He's like, who you talking to, Mom? I know you talking to me, right? Okay, what do we need to know in this answer? Honestly, you don't feel bad, Allison. You really don't. Okay. Girl. Shit. You don't feel bad, but you got some heavy ass cards. Here's the thing. First card you bleed out with is death in an upright position. Death is not physical death. Let's say that out here. It's just saying massive changes and transformations are coming and it needs to happen. Next card that crosses as the 5 of Cups in a reverse position. So this is where you've sat back, you've weighed your options, you know what your moves are, and you know what you need to do. You understand what I'm saying? So at this point, it's basically saying that you've reached a point in your life where you know change needs to happen. You've already evaluated everything. You've looked at all the perspectives, probably overthought them all at least 10 times. And you've kind of already formed opinions and thoughts on what you need to do as far as the directions you need to go in. You also have the Page of Swords. So that tells me that even though these choices need to be made and you're aware of them and you've thought them through, it is very scary to you because the Page is someone who has the generalized knowledge but doesn't have the experience. So this tells me it's putting you in a situation where you're either having to do things you've never done before or, be a specific way you've never been before. It's very much like, and I think that's probably where the transformation comes in with the Death card, because it's giving birth to a new you. Are you understanding what I'm saying so far? Let me move this over because the dog done shifted it. He done shifted it. Okay, the second thing that's addressed in this is you have the Two of Wands that comes up, which represents foundations and it represents stability. So it's telling me that, where you're at right now, you have a degree of stability. But the thing is, it feels false to you. It feels like there is no contentment. It's almost like you can't fully relax and let your guard and your defenses down. So, hi, Jody. I do readings by donation, but I'll absolutely hook you up and you can pay through Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. And we can discuss more when I get through with Miss Allison here. So it's like in your world right now, you do have a degree of stability, but it feels false. It feels like you can't really depend on it. And it feels like your stability is dependent on other people. It's very much like you want your stability to feel genuine. You don't want to have that false sense of stability. You want to know that things are taken care of, that things are all right, that it's not going to fail. It's almost like you've reached a point where you're tired of hanging your hopes on other people, waiting on them to do what they say they're going to do. You're just tired of dependency on others. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you're wanting to initiate change, and it's almost like you're shaking up the whole entire playing field because you've decided this is how it needs to be for you to feel safe and secure and to be happy and to be content. You understand what I'm saying so far? I got a yes ma'am earlier, but I elaborate a little bit more, so I want confirmation before I go. All right. Now here's the thing. It's like I said in the beginning of this, I feel like you've already thought this through. You've already looked at the outcomes. You've already overthought it in a lot of ways. So, got to be honest with you. Here's your outcome. You've got the Three of Cups, which is happy, jovial. It's a time of celebration. It is establishing foundations because all twos and threes are foundation cards. But yes, the pupper's got in the phone situation. But that card for me is fantastic because it's saying you make these choices, you take these options, you do what you need to do, and the choices that you're making are absolutely leading you in the right direction because that's celebratory. Like I said, twos and threes are foundations, and cups deal with the emotions. That's in an upright. Something black was just at the bottom real quick. Well, if the dog's in my lap, you're going to completely see it because he is 74 pounds of hefe. I did get it, Jessica. It was probably a fly because my neighbors do not clean their dog shit up that often. And if I open my door to let him out, I get bombarded by flies. So if it was black and it was quick, it was probably a little fly because there's a couple hovering around my house. I've been trying to kill them, but they fast little fuckers. In my arm because Ari and lupus just don't want to work. Could be spirit then. Who knows? Who knows? Spirit be tripping. So as far as you go, Allison, you've already got the choices. You know what you need to do. It's going to be scary because, like I said, you've got that Page of Swords, but it's just because it's a circumstance you've never been in. It's not because there's genuinely anything you need to fear that you're going to fail. I don't see failure as an option. I feel like you're going to exceed and you're going to do wonderful. And the choices you make are going to be the right ones and you're going to end up so much happier for it. So Hope that makes sense to you. Hope you understand it. Hope you got exactly what I'm saying. Well, yeah, if you know it and you're already feeling it, and I don't know your circumstances, and I just got it, I think it's definitely that's your sign. Here's your sign. You need to just kind of let it go. You know, here's the deal. How we all sit around, and all of us are guilty of this to some degree. And this is not just a you thing. It's not just a me thing. It's a human thing. We all sit around and we have aspects of our lives that we are not comfortable with or happy with. And because of previous experiences and traumas and fears, we don't do much to change those circumstances. Because, like I said earlier, I don't know if it's to you or it's to Jessica, there's a familiarity. And the devil that you know is a lot easier to get along with than a strange new devil. And, sometimes when all we've seen is struggle and hardships, it's easy for us. We actually develop a failure to succeed, or excuse me, a fear to succeed. So a lot of people are afraid to fail. Some of us, we're scared to fucking death of succeeding. Girl, you are not going to fail. You ended up with the 3 of Cups. That tells me that you got so much happiness coming. You got a stronger foundation because what you have now was a 2. That was a 3. So it's going to be stronger than what you have. You're going to be happier. You're going to be content. And, it seems to me with the 3 of Cups, that's not an individual card. That's people surrounding you. That's you having family, friends, support structure. So whatever your circumstances is right now, people don't even want to support you. It's almost like people are aggravated at the circumstances and have just backed out. And so you by yourself. So by you making an initiative, taking the change, doing what needs to be done, it allows other people to come in. I mean, we only have so much space in our lives for things. And if we got these fears and negativities and shit where we settling and we just dealing with it and we don't remove it, we don't make room for other things to come in. Sometimes we just got to clean the house mentally, emotionally, physically, and welcome things in, create a space for them. Sometimes it takes us initiating a change to create that space. Because right now you filled up. You full up. You're going to have to change your circumstances in order for things to change. I mean, it just is what it is. What's that expression about insanity? The definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. That may not necessarily be the exact wording, but that's close enough. All right. So who is next? Like I said, got PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Facebook payment if you're on Facebook. I will answer your questions. That's it. It was so nice to see you, and thank you for educating me about the red and the blue, because I couldn't figure it out. And I had people on my last broadcast say that they were on my Facebook trying to comment and it wasn't working. So I don't know if it's because it wasn't linked up properly or what. So I went in earlier and I linked it all up. I'm just going to stay with it and bring everything forward. Jessica is next. Didn't I already read Jessica, or is this another Jessica? Hello, Lee. You're so cool with me. No, I actually read Jessica. I read Jessica. And I hooked you up because you did some little side work for me, figuring out the whole modalities and how it works as far as the color codes and all. You go out here and start barking. I'm gonna get your butt, buddy. Don't be an asshole. Don't be a menace to the neighborhood. Oi. Hello, Lee. It's minimal, $5. If you do more, oh, that's because I had read her previously. She said she was going to kick in something for me to read about her back. And so I read her before I read you. That dog is so crazy. I'm talking about you. I was telling how crazy you are. How you just a mess. Let's see what you're looking at. You say hi? Say hi. Hey, no, I hit it the wrong way. Sir. Sir. I don't want to do rope. Mom don't want to do rope. I see it, but Mom don't want to do it. Mom don't want to do rope. I got to do the readings. It's like, oh shit, somebody done went outside and did some talkie jokes. See what I'm saying? All right, let's do Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee. God, that took me way back. Took me back to like 1954. Ooh, that's a previous lifetime. Excuse me. Sir. I'm going to get the water bottle. Oh, Lee, honey, you ain't seen my plants. My plants, them plants don't matter over there. Yeah, I figured. These plants. That plant. All these plants. I got a vacuum. I got that plant. Plants over there. Welcome to the jungle, baby. So what do you want to know? This is the same place. Since you've known me, I have not moved. I simply started investing in myself and in my home. And I didn't have children here anymore because my babies are all... My youngest is 18 now. And I don't have a spouse because God bless her. You know, Chris was fantastic in her own ways, but it was very stressful and very hard and taxing and time consuming having a spouse that was continually sick that you were always at the doctor's office for and all. So now it is just me and my dog. And so I don't have anywhere to put my money other than investing in my home and in myself. So I started buying furniture and plants, and so same place, different situation. I mean, even with some of the furniture, like the shelves behind me are the same. I've just changed what's on them and things. That should tell you how much things have changed dynamically in my life, because you see the difference. So what are we looking at, Mr. Lee? You want some bologna? Let's see if we can lure this motherfucker in. He will see what I tell you. I said bologna, he fucking straight ran in his house. Straight ran in his house. Little fat ass. Ooh, look at you, bologna boy. General, it is. Ladies cards. Let me shuffle the hell out of them and ask him. Your cards are not that crazy, Lee. Your cards are actually pretty good. Um, First thing that comes up is you do have the Ten of Wands. That's more emotional. So that's like I was saying with the other person I was reading earlier. It's just struggling, trying to make sense of things, trying to figure out where you need to direct your energy. I feel like you're putting your energy in too many places at one time. You have the Devil card just in a reverse position for your own personal card. So that tells me you are growing, because you're admitting truths and things that you didn't necessarily want to see. So you're becoming more aware of the darker aspects of you, or things that you maybe didn't want to see previously. So I mean, that makes me feel like you definitely have done some shadow work and invested some time in you, which is fantastic. We all need to do that. You also have the Queen of Wands that comes up dead center as identifier for you. It's in a reverse position. So that, the Queen of Wands, in a lot of ways, I think she's more nurturing. How do I put this? So, for example, the Queen of Cups, she's very, very loving. She's very, you know, she's that grandma that just gives you whatever you want, whatever you need. To me, the Queen of Wands is like a mix. She's going to love you. She's going to give you what you need, but she's also going to set your ass straight when it needs to be set straight. So it's like you've reached a point where you're starting to love yourself, but the whole setting yourself straight is the awareness, the recognition, the shadow work, the effort that you've put in so far. Because of that, you do end up with the Wheel of Fortune, which is life starting to shift and starting to change in a positive direction. To me, that feels like it's already beginning. So I feel like there's already things that are shifting for the better for you. I don't see it as full blown because it still feels pretty new to me. It feels like, honestly, the last, say, 6 weeks or so, it's began. And so it feels like it's going to pick up momentum, and just continue through. So, Wheel of Fortune's an 18-month card. If you've been around, which you have, you've heard probably me say that a gazillion times. So you're in a position, in a place right now where, even though you're feeling overwhelmed, in that overwhelmed feeling, you've done the inside. You've went inside, you're working, you're growing, you're processing it. The universe is recognizing you, and the changes are coming. You end up with the Ace of Swords in a reverse position. Now, the reverse sounds scary, but to me, I see that as progress, because right now you may not necessarily, because of that Ten of Wands you let out with, feel like you have control of anything. You may not feel like you can handle anything, or you feel like you're just everywhere, so you can't focus. With that Ace of Swords, it's, even in reverse, allowing you to eliminate things that you don't need to direct energy at. So it's going to make you feel more pulled together and more confident and strong, because instead of your energy going in 10 places, it's going in 5. And so that alone is going to allow you to start making steps forward and making progress. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hope you understand what I'm saying. Good job. So, I mean, like I said, energetically, you don't feel bad. You seem to, I mean, it's not perfect, but the changes are there. They're slowly coming. Like I said, it seems like in the last 6 weeks or so, things have really started surprising answers, if that makes sense. It's like things you wouldn't have thought, or answers you wouldn't even thought could be an answer. It seems like they're starting to come up. And I think that's a lot of it too, because I see so many people wanting change in their lives and wanting things to be a specific way. And they get so locked on in their minds, this is the path I'm taking, that's my end goal, that they don't realize that there's millions of paths to get you to that end goal. And you can actually screw yourself focusing so much on the path. Just focus on the goal. Be open to whatever the universe needs to bring in to get you to that goal. Because by you being so focused, you're actually fighting against the energies that the world's trying to bring in. So it could be easier if you just quit fighting so much and having to have it your way. You understand? I feel like that's part of the circumstance with you too, because you're kind of beginning to realize it doesn't have to be your way. You just have to let go. I hate the corny expression, let go and let God, because but I do feel like sometimes we are our own worst enemy, and we get in our own damn way so much. And I think that's some of what you've been doing. So I feel like by you reaching that ultimate low with that Ten of Wands and being in that dark place, it's allowed you to see you really don't have control. And sometimes that's the best lesson we can have. So I hope that makes sense. Just know things are getting better. You got that Wheel of Fortune coming in. Like I said, this next 18 months, well, not quite 18 months because I feel like you're about 6 weeks in already. So just keep on doing what you're doing. Keep putting the work in. Keep doing that shadow work. Keep picking yourself apart. I'm not saying be obsessive and be an asshole to you, but definitely invest on it. All right. Shh. Dumb question. What's the compare of psychic versus psychic medium? Let's play education line. Oh. I was like, shit, am I reading this wrong? Do I really need to put my glasses on? Okay. Here's the deal. Mediumship is the ability to actually connect to spirit, living or deceased. And psychic is just the ability to use things like clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, empathy, even to pull from the energies of the universe, that kind of situation. So, psychic is knowing, feeling, hearing. And when I say hearing, it could just be not necessarily from spirit, but just the divine, being able to connect to it and hear the answers, the responses, and give guided, like channeled messages. Whereas the mediumship deals directly with being able to connect, and intuitive absolutely falls under psychic. Um, Medium is the ability to communicate directly with other spirits, living, deceased, elementals, lower levels, higher levels, all of that. So psychic is you're not communicating with anything but the divine, basically, and your guides. Maybe someone else's guides, but there's no actual communications with deities or any of that. We gotta shut this door back because you cold, very cold. Oh. I said bird. It's cold in here. Yeah. I said bird. It's cold in here. There must be some tunnels in the atmosphere. She'll start cheerleading. But yes, intuitive is the same thing as psychic. It's just, I think, with an intuitive, it's a lower level. So it's like intuitives are like a 3 or a 4. They know some shit's going down. They acknowledge that they got messages, but they don't have an understanding. I would say a psychic is like a 7, 8. They can rely and depend on their messages. When a message comes in, they understand it. They know what it is. They know how to convey the imagery, the audible, whatever, and get the message across. So I think that the difference between intuitive and psychic is the degree of understanding within themselves on how to use it. So one is just knowing, the other is knowing with communication. Basically, mediumship is just having the ability to communicate with things not in the physical, or even sometimes in the physical, because I've worked with people that was in ICU, unresponsive, unconscious, and, been able to convey messages as to what their wants and needs and desires were. So they weren't even physically deceased yet, but their brain waves were at such a state that I could communicate. So, yeah. And that's another thing people that don't really necessarily understand. When you meditate, you go into the same brain levels because when we're awake during the day, our brain operates. And we have these brain levels and waves that are going, and the more active we are, the higher those levels are. When you are asleep, you're in the exact same state, brain level wise, as you are in a deep meditation. So it's a situation where that's why a lot of times people say, well, I'm having these dreams when I'm asleep. Or, you know, I feel like my aunt came and visited me or whatever in my dream. Chances are they did. It's because you're in that same state you need to be to receive messages in a deep state, like a trance or mediumship when they do channeling. You're in that same level of reception so you can have those experiences. Psychic just has energy. They basically read the energy. And they get messages. It's like, say for example, if I'm doing a reading with someone and I'm trying to convey a message, and I'm trying, it's like, for example, my oldest daughter has a shelf name, which is a name she's not used publicly. And if I'm doing a reading and I'm seeing someone in my mind that has a lot of the same character traits, my brain starts blasting that song, Black Betty. Whoa, Black Betty. Ram-a-lam, whoa, Black Betty. So I know, okay, we're dealing with this child. We're imposing. So the messages come differently, but it's external, but it's not me actually speaking to a spirit. It's like sometimes when you watch my past readings, I go looking toward the corner and okay, and I say, okay, what he said. It's because I'm pulled to spirit, and spirit is delivering messages. I hope I cleared that up. I hope it made sense. Sir Dog. Sir Dog Man. We don't want to talk about that right now. You're grumpy. Don't talk to me that way. What? How did you get it under there? You. Here. I really hope the way I described that makes sense. It's not exactly an easy thing to determine. You've got so much crap at my feet. How many toys does one dog need? Huh? There's nothing there, sir. There's nothing there. You psyched me out, punk ass. You sent me out. Ah. Oh dear. Well, there's things you can do to eliminate some of it. I mean, biggest thing is ground center clear on a regular basis. I hate the whole bubble exercise because it's so stereotypical and cliche, and I feel like it's been so mocked at this point that people, even going into it, doesn't have a degree of validity or anything. Um, there is stones that work. There's herbs that work. There's exercises you can do. I mean, I've discussed them a lot. The biggest thing that, and this is something, okay, here's the situation. I have been an empath my entire life. It sucks, okay? But here's the thing, you have control over it. All of our gifts and our abilities that we have, and I say all of them because there's not a person on the face of this planet that doesn't have degree of gifts, period. We all do, okay? Um, it's like I said, some of us play the piano better than others, but we may not be an automatic where we just, can fucking play by ear, but if we take courses and classes, we can learn to play just as well as that person. You cannot let that empathy have control over you. Because every time you say, I'm overloaded, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overpowered, I can't control this, you're furthering that in your brain and you're putting a block on you so that you won't be able to in the future. So, what you have to say is when you are bugged down or you feel like you're being overloaded from all the things bombarding you, okay, let me change this circumstance. Is this person affecting my energy in a negative way? Do I have to stay in this person's energy? Do I have to continue to allow to have this person in my life? If you're in a situation in a place, do I have to be in this place? Can I leave this place? If, you're at work and this person keeps fucking with you and aggravating you, okay, so I have to work with them, but Can I go work with this person? If you have to turn in things, can I turn it into this person instead of this person? You have to reroute it so that you're getting beyond those blocks and that you can live. Because there have been gifted people my entire existence, long before I was even in the flesh this go round, that have had these skills and abilities and they've dealt with it. Every so often in the metaphysical community, there is catchphrases that become popular. The current one seems to be empath. And I will admit, there's more and more empaths being born every day. We are on an upswing. There's more and more gifted people born coming into this world, understanding their gifts, and them being much more surface than they were previously, because we've evolved as a collective to a point that that can happen. However, empathy is the catchphrase. And I see so many people act like because you're an empath, you are completely debilitated. And it's because you're giving it so much credit, saying you can't do anything about it. So instead of saying, okay, I'm a fucking mess, say, okay, when am I a mess? Okay, if I'm a mess in this situation, do I have to even be in that situation? What can I take with me into it as far as herbs, as stones, whatever? What can I do to change that circumstance in that situation? Because, like I said, every time you say, I can't do this or I can't do that or it's killing me, you're putting a block on you. You're binding you from ever being able to have abilities to control it and to handle it. So that's the first thing you got to do. You've got to eliminate that and you got to start changing how you word it. So, okay, I have no choice but to go in this circumstance, and I know that person's an asshole, and I know I'm going to pick up their emotions. Okay, let me put some black tourmaline in here. Or okay, I gotta sit in this room for 5 fucking hours. Put you some packets of salt in your fucking pocket. Enter that room before they do. Sprinkle that salt at the door so when they cross it, that negativity is gonna come off of them into the salt. There's ways you can do and navigate to make you much saner. It's just going to require you not giving that empathy the ability to kick your ass and you thinking outside of the box. Do you understand what I'm saying? I can't even sit in my fucking house right here. If I sit right here in my chair and my TV's off and I'm just sitting here, I can hear the thoughts in my neighbors' heads. I can hear the conversations they're having. I can feel the emotions and the aggravations from them. That's through my back door, through a 10-foot, well, 8-foot privacy fence, their door, and them in their home. I can't go in public without every fucking person. I pass a person in a car, boom, anger, boom, happiness, boom, depression. Sitting at a stoplight, that person's going to kill themselves. Wow, this person's happy or they're not going to make it home. You have to learn to filter. What can I control? If I can't control it gift wise, I got to let it go. It used to overwhelm the shit out of me because I feel the earth. So, there's going to be a huge tsunami that's going to kill thousands of people. Imagine what it feels like to physically drown and experience the pain and the fear of 1,000 people drowning. You can't not function because of your gifts. Your gifts are there to strengthen you. And when you work through them and find tools and tips and tricks and ways to actually function with that there, it makes you a stronger individual and it gives you more tools that you cannot, so that you can't get overloaded and that you can use these tools in other aspects of your life to make sense of shit. It gives you understanding of so much more other than the circumstance right there. You know, hell, I remember I moved to Oregon like 9 years ago. And when I first got here, it was strange for me because I had been on the East Coast and in South Carolina, you don't have that many earthquakes. You just don't. So it was not something I was acquainted with. It was not something, there were blips on my radar previously, but it was nothing massive. I moved here. I'm a lot closer to the Ring of Fire. I'm a lot closer to earthquakes in California. I'm a lot closer to earthquakes in Alaska. I remember the first time I was like experiencing one, I was homeless at the time. And I laid down on the ground in the park, and all these people are looking at me like I'm fucking crazy because I was so overwhelmed. But I had to learn tips and ways to kind of say, okay, there's nothing I can do about that. Let me just let it go, you know? You've got to not let it rule you. That's the biggest thing. You were gave these skills and abilities to use to better you, to better humanity, to make the world a better place. When you have empathy, you have a degree of compassion and understanding that most people don't. And so by you having that, you're more open and available to forgive people, to open doors of communication between two people, because you can see the left and the right side, the black and the white. You can see the negative and the positive. If you're letting it control you, how are you using those gifts? Am I making sense? I'm not trying to get on your ass. I just want you to understand there is literally thousands of new empaths born every day because we've reached a point in the collective consciousness where we're getting that upgrade. And so more and more children are coming in with the skills and abilities that for so long were considered taboo or misunderstood or literally belong to just a handful of people and families. That's not the case anymore. And you've got to learn to cope and deal with them, because I'm going to be honest with you. Being skilled, being gifted is not the easiest thing to deal with. It's not. It's like I said, do you know how hard it is to not have a fucking moment of silence? People are like, okay, I just want you to sit down. I think I have an idea what's going on. It's just I need to hit on where you're using the tools. Exactly. You have to take ownership of it. It is an aspect of you. You can't be like, oh, my fuck, I'm so stressed because my hair is brown today. This brown hair is killing me. I don't know what I'm going to do with my hair because it's just, I'm overloaded because of my hair. It is a trait or an aspect of you. You cannot allow it to give you or take away from your value. You have to use it in a way that works best for you. What? What are you fussing about? No way. No way. I don't got a toy. I do. I'm very sorry. I didn't know you bring Squeaker here. Dare. Hello from Baltimore. Hello, Sue. How are you? Y'all overlook Luke in the background. He's so spoiled. He's used to it just being me and him. And I haven't been doing that many live broadcasts, so he's not used to me actually communicating with people. Yes and no. I mean, I've reached a point where I know what I have to do, and I do use my gifts on a daily basis. So I have set rules, and you reach a certain point where you say, okay, like if I'm in bed or I'm in the bathroom, if I'm in my bedroom or my bathroom, spirit cannot interfere with me. You know, that's my dead zones. It's not possible for anything to come through. Um, you know, it's like if I know I have things to do, I will say, okay, I have a doctor's appointment. I can't be sitting in the middle of my rheumatologist and have 50 dead people come up and me go into trance and start channeling. So you can set boundaries and say, okay, it can't happen here. But, you know, at this time when I've got this going on, I'm open to receiving those messages or writing down what I need to do. A lot of it, people don't understand. You have the ability to control. It's not, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that it's a sudden thing like where you can just say, okay, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that, because you've gotten so used to being programmed to like the perspective of it controls me that it takes time to reprogram yourself to understand you control it. So, you know, you have to kind of keep reiterating to reprogram yourself. But you can completely, not fully, I will say that, because I mean, even at my best, I might block 70 to 80%, but, you know, that 20, 30% that comes through is massive usually. It's the things that need to come through. I've noticed many people that have gifts are starting to admit I'm a nurse and empath, which is very difficult at times. Absolutely. And here's another thing. It's like so hilarious because when I read my people that are empaths, truly empathic, they have the caretaker mentality. That is their life chart. That is their work. And so I see so many people in nursing and in doctoring that are empaths, that are gifted. And it's because, I don't know if you were in here earlier, so many people that are empaths want to fix people. And what better way to fix them than to be an empath, a nurse or a doctor? So, I mean, and a lot of it, like I said earlier, it was taboo for so long. And now people are starting to come out of it and understand that it truly is just a trait. It is an aspect of self that we all have to varying degrees. You got to pee. You got potty. This dog. Him is Christ. Here, let me set that back up. Come on. Now go potty. You say have pee. You say have pee. And ring it the best. Go potty. We'll put the door up, the rock there. I think also, it's like I was talking earlier, the collective consciousness. We all, as individuals, have individual consciousness where we have our own things we have to deal with. We have our own lessons we need to learn, things we need to overcome. But we also are like puzzle pieces. And so we fit into this, all of our little pieces fit together to create this huge, unified, collective consciousness. And so if you're working to evolve your consciousness and you're doing the necessary things to build you up, you're automatically edging up the collective consciousness. So collectively, we've done enough to kind of allow ourselves for the taboo aspect of it to fall away, for more and more people that are gifted to feel comfortable stepping out, more and more people that are gifted to be born. And so it really is a beautiful time. And I mean, that's also part of the reason the world is as chaotic as it is. Because, oh my goodness, we're going to do that. But, what I was saying is it is a beautiful time, but it's also a tragic time. Because as we're going from that negative, masculine, dominant, we have to conquer everything, we have to stake claim, Well, yeah, I went in and I blocked them. Well, I muted them. Um, there's not really much more I can do beyond that. I don't think until after the broadcast is over. But shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh well. Must not have been important. But I feel bad when I can't. Too many people have not too much. Okay, what you need to do when you're around those people and you feel overwhelmed and it's particularly because of a person, you can, it's like it's really easy if it's just you and that individual there. You can specifically say, I release all energy pertaining to this person or coming from this person. I call back all energy belonging to me. I've said it a million times in this all of my broadcasts, between here, Periscope, everywhere. Because what that's doing is you're putting in action with a thought. So you're incorporating the left and the right side of the brain. So it's the physical and the spiritual aspect of you. So it's very much like you've created a ritual. And so you just simply state, and you don't even have to do it externally. You can do it in your mind. It's just doing it. I release all energy not belonging to me. I call back all energy that is mine. Because that's like an instant ground center and clear. It's going to balance you. It's going to eliminate what isn't yours. So it's going to quit the overload. It's going to help the overload. I mean, it's the easiest thing you can do. I've got so many people that are gifted that are agoraphobic and don't want to even go outside because there's so many energies. You just have to learn. The thing is, when you're an empath, not only are you responsible for your energy, you're responsible for whose energy you allow around you and how you react to that energy. Because chances are, 90% of the time, they're not even conscious of their energy or the output of it or how they're coming across because they're not to that point spiritually enough where they can recognize it, if that makes sense. So, since they're not developed enough to comprehend it, you have to comprehend it for them by saying, you know, mm, I'm not going to let that in my space. I have some people I adore. I don't let them in my space. They ain't a way in hell I'd let them in my front door, simply because their energy is not something I want in my space. You have to be responsible for other people's energies also. Not how they behave and all of that, but how you allow yourself to interact with it. You have to learn to set firm boundaries. There is like 5 fucking people that come in my house. That's it. And the reason is my house is Fort Knox. You can leave your hanks at the door. You can leave your negativity at the door. I don't have time for it. This is my sanctuary. This is my bubble. This is my safe space. I'm not going to let some fool come up in here and shit on it. Plain and simple. Hate to put it that way. So, yeah, there's that. So you got to start, like I said, dealing with your own energy and dealing with theirs. How you deal with it. That's crucial. If you don't understand what I'm saying, just chip in and just kind of be like, hey, look, you work in a hospital, girl. Black tourmaline needs to be your best friend. You need to get you some black tourmaline. You can get you a little necklace that's wire wrapped. Put it on. Because what it's going to do is it's going to eliminate 90% of their feels and their funky from even touching you. You ain't even got to deal with it. You know, it just, nope. If the nurses are crazy, when you go in, get you a salt shaker. Go in just mentally. Just see yourself sitting in the middle of the nurse's station. Close your eyes for a second. Just let your energy push out and say, Divine, I clear this space. And imagine your energy expanding to your in the nursing station. And then just you can lay boundaries of salt at the walkways where they come in. There's so many things that you can do to control that. I mean, shit, salt neutralizes negativity. So, okay, that patient just cussed you out. You're not going to bring that in my station and have you tripping on me and put everybody else in a bad mood because patient is fucking tripping. Excuse my language. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. I mean, cigarettes and okay, here's the deal. I smoked, I still vape. Cigarettes in and of themselves, tobacco is the sacred herb. It's one of the 4 directions that's honored in a lot of customs and traditions. So, tobacco herb, the leaf, is sacred and it is used in rituals for cleansing if you know what you're doing. I would not, if you're trying to eliminate stress, smoke a cigarette. I wouldn't put the salt on the tobacco. I would, if you're going to do it, get you, um, there's a couple companies that do not, they make cigarettes, but it's like, all natural. I can't remember the company. I want to say it's Blue something. Native Spirit, Blue Spirit, something. But you can actually take the tobacco out of it since that's real tobacco, not all the shit that like Camel puts in theirs. And you can put it in the 4 corners of the room. And you can ask that it create a barrier, to cleanse the area, to eliminate any stresses or chaoses. I mean, there's ways and things you can do. Absolutely. Without you looking like a freak if you're sitting in your workplace. There's, like I said, I call back our energy belong to me. You don't even have to vocalize that out loud. You can say that inwardly. And it's totally going to ground center and clear you. You can just, like I said, stand there, close your eyes, imagine the divine flowing through your crown chakra and down to your heart and just expanding and filling the space, pushing the negative out. You don't want to see you doing it. You want to make sure that you have that divine coming down into the crown. That way you're using the divine energy, the earth's energy, not your own. Because if you use your own, it's going to exhaust you. It's going to make you tired as shit. You know, toys are much better when you don't take the squeakers out. Don't take the squeaker out. You eat all the squeakers out of them. I don't know how you do it. It's like you find the squeaker diggers and you pull them out. Error one. Error one. Sprinkle salt in the mouth. It's like someone asked me one time, what stones can you use on people that aggravate the hell out of you? I said, any of them if you throw them hard enough. It's all perspective. If I hit you right in the forehead with a rose quartz with all my strength, you're probably going to leave me alone. Now, I'm not saying violence is the path to go, but yeah. You could, if it's, say, for example, you've got one person at work that's just trying as hell. They get up to go somewhere, put some salt in their chair. Especially if it's a fabric chair, they're not going to notice it because it's going to get in the weave of it. Or put some salt on the floor under their feet. He's everything. Oh my God, he's a little bitty thing. He's got a great big old head, and he's like wanting to play squeaker toots. I've actually thought about, and I never remember to do it when I think about it because I'm always half asleep in bed or something, and go on Amazon and see if they just have squeakers. I need to do that. Yeah. Sprinkle salt under their feet where they put their feet to keep them grounded, to keep them balanced at work. You can even put salt under your desk on your floor. Put it in their chair. I know you can't necessarily smudge, but you can bring crystals into the room. You can put bowls of salt there and, charge it. Give it the intention. Oh, Amazon has squeakers. Oh, shit, Luke. I know. What? We do a squeaker. Oh, it's right there, idiot. How you gonna act like you can't get that? Ow. My freaking shoulder. I do readings by donation. So you have to pay through PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. And I will get a notification on my phone that tells me you have. Then I will read you. I also do readings individually for half-hour sessions, hour sessions. I do energy work where I do chakra alignments, remove blockages, help people to access their higher gifts. Just kind of see what they've got in them as far as what skills and abilities. Because like I said earlier, we all have them. And kind of give them little understandings of how it works. But yeah, you can find me, message me, Reads by Abby Black on Facebook. Like I said, I do have my own shop online also. It's called A Witch's. Well, as above, A Witch's Spot. It sells everything from dowsing rods and tarot cards to clothing to incense, sage. So you can find me on there. You can message me through any of those and I can get you in. But yeah, you can find me pretty much Abby Black anywhere. Abby Black Psychic Medium. So, you know, you had a gift. Actually, my family, my family has been documented since we know 1627 is being gifted. My family used to actually be seers for the courts and the royal family pre 1627. We were gave a castle and a town in Wales, which still has the same family name. In 1627, it was a circumstance where they said, okay, you can leave, or we can pretty much say you're a witch. And so we pretty much left that line of family, left at that point. So, I mean, I'm like, I don't even know how many generations directly back. I am just a reader. I grew up in a family where it was entirely normal. So I didn't really, I don't know how, it's hard for me to answer that question and say, okay, well, you know, this is when I discovered, because I mean, to me, it was always there. It was always accepted. I remember being 3 and 4 and my grandfather setting me on the table and saying, go little oracle. And I would just start rambling. By the time I was 13, I had my own clients. At 16, I was fully supporting myself. It's the only job I've ever had, other than I tried to work at Walmart for like 3 months one year for Christmas money. And that was a failure because I ended up reading everybody as I would hand them change. Learned I can't do that. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to say because I did not have, and I recognize I did not have the normal situation. My family were always open. If I seen something, if I felt something, I was told to communicate it. I was never looked down on it. It was just part of being. Um, so I mean, I'm being a child. No, you can't do that because Nanny said she's seen someone drown in the pool. Just you just it just is what it is. I mean, so I can't. I think the first actual spirit communication I remember, I was probably about. It was pre-kindergarten. So I mean, I had to been like 5, 4, somewhere in there. We had these huge ass oak trees beside the house. And I used to go collect the acorns. I was cooking things, I was making things, I'm doing my thing. And my grandfather was on the patio because in the South we have these huge porches and they're like these concrete things. And there's gliders on them and swings on them. And they'll lay the bamboo curtains down and people sleep out on the patios in the summer, especially back in those days because it was not common to have central heat and air. Um, I remember sitting out there playing with the acorns, and this black guy, old black man, walked up, and he looked like Louis Armstrong. And I remember him just talking to me and talking up a storm. And I grew up in the country, so I mean, anybody coming up on your property, people would have been like, "What the hell?" But my family, being who they were, and already being viewed at as weird and outcast, we were automatically a little defensive. Why is this person coming up on my property? You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was weird because he came 2 or 3 times when I was under the tree, and my grandpa didn't say shit. Any other time, my grandpa had been like, "Who's this grown ass man talking to my grandchild?" And I remember going in and talking to my grandma about my friend, my black friend, my old man friend that come and talk to me all the time. And my grandma calling my grandpa and then saying, "Ralph, did you see him out there?" And my grandpa like, "No, maybe I wasn't supposed to see him." Because even though they're gifted, you have to understand each psychic or medium is different. So I can be in a room with my family members, and every one of my family members are gifted. All 3 of my children are gifted. Um, and out of every one of us in that room, it may not necessarily be something we need to see. So there may be 10 of us in the room and only 2 of us see it. No, no, it doesn't work that way. We all see it different ways. It's just like when we're getting messages, for perfect example, Stacey Bennett, love her to death. Absolutely love her readings. I've set in on a lot of her readings and even watched from like lobbies back in on Periscope because I didn't want to go in. And I agree with everything she said. But we get messages and things based off of our own experiences. And so, it's like I like to tell people my favorite color is brown. When I see brown, I feel comfortable, I feel calm, I feel serene, I feel grounding come into me. It's just peacefulness. Some people see brown and they hate it because it reminds them of shit. And so they're like, ooh, it creeps them out. It makes them feel dirty. It makes them feel not right. So, the messages we receive, we may deliver. Me and Stacey could give readings and give the exact same message. But the input that we were gave to get to that end result would be completely different because hers would be based off of her experiences and the things she's seen and how she translates it. And mine would be completely different because of the same reasons. So, I mean, we don't necessarily see everything. And you have to understand there's multitudes of gifts that go along with being psychic and gifted. So, exactly. It is exactly the same for mediums because, you know, so for example, if my family, like I said, the 10 of us are sitting in a room, spirit walks in, someone comes and knocks on the door. There may be only one or two of us that can see that spirit and hear what it's saying. And the reason we can see it and hear what it's saying is because we've had the life experiences and the situations that pertain to the message that spirit needs to communicate. That's one reason most people that are extremely gifted have hard ass lives. They've lost spouses, they've lost children, they've been homeless, they've suffered and had autoimmune diseases. It's because we have to have a broad understanding of all of the things in human existence. And so we may only see that spirit because, okay, addiction has touched us. Addiction, addiction is the cause of death for that spirit. So we're going to have the emotional and the empathy connection to be able to hear what that spirit's trying to convey and deliver it a lot better and a lot easier than someone who's never had that touch them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, based off of our experiences, based off of our situations, oh, absolutely, absolutely. I I used to work, and when I say work, I don't mean I got paid for it. I was very much involved in genetic studies, and there's a company called GEDmatch, and they worked with 23andMe and Ancestry, more so 23andMe in the beginning. And I got to a point where I would meet people and we would be related. And they would see what I did for a living. And they would say, well, I kind of feel like, I've been gifted or I have these experiences. And it would never fail. I would go in and look, and we would be exactly related on the same chromosome at a specific point. Got to the point where if they said, I have these experiences, I'm gifted as well, I could look at that chromosome and we would be related at that spot. I firmly believe all gifted people are related to some extreme genetically, and then we all share specific markers in our DNA. I will not share that information with science because that would translate in my mind. I don't know. I got Jewish people in my family. I got Gypsy people in my family. Maybe it's paranoia. But for me to feel absolutely confident that there's genes that carry these traits, to see it in multiple people, for us all to be connected at this point, thousands, I know there's a linkage. And I absolutely feel like it is generational. It is a trait. I mean, every person in my family, documented to 1627, has been gifted. My family, as far as other mediums, we're over Edgar Casey's estate. We're over the Showman's Guild in North and South America. The Magicians Association in California, we're currently over. Um, there are specific families. Houdini worked with my great great uncle, and my great uncle Howard Thurston was a mentalist. He would read people's minds and things, and he was the only one Houdini could never debunk, and they become friends. So I mean, there are certain families in history that's documented having the gifts, and it goes back. I have my own theories on that as well, but I don't really share them publicly. There's definitely some similarities. Um, Sue, if she's still in here, the RH negativity is a factor. Most of the people I've encountered that are extremely gifted have RH negativity as a factor in their blood. So there's multiple things. I mean, yeah. Like I said, all my kids are gifted. My kids used to use telepathy and argue. My son would be like, Mom, Jenna called me an asshole. She said, I thought it, so it doesn't matter. So I had to teach my kids to not argue unless it was verbally. You can't read minds. It doesn't count. It's not work. It's not nice. So human beings are capable of so much more than we give ourselves credit for. Really, really are. So I'm glad that people are starting to catch up and understand and embrace their gifts and realize that it is beyond. anything we can really even comprehend. And that there is so much more in existence in this world that some of which I don't even have names for, you know, that we're going to start experiencing and seeing. And so to me, I'm thrilled. I want everybody to be like I am. That way I feel a little less crazy. My father said I knew from outside. Okay. Have you tested through any of the sites like I mentioned with Ancestry or 23andMe? Hello, Dana. Dina. I really should put my glasses on. But my hair, I need a haircut. It keeps getting in my face. So, I've been on here for quite a while. If you people haven't followed me that found me by fluke, follow me. Come back. I'm going to start doing broadcasts again. I just had to wait on life to settle. I wanted to have a. Well, I got it cut like 2 months ago. And it was really, really short. And I think it sounds weird. I don't know how hair works. But I feel like once it was cut, it started growing so much. So I did ancestry, but my dad passed away in the 90s, so not much there. Well, you could reverse engineer a tree based off of, him to see what his family lines are, to see where they come from, and, see if you have other siblings or, you know, cousins that may be able to give you a little insight into the history. Honey, that's not insensitive. That's not bad. No. I mean, here's the deal. She doesn't come around as much as she used to, but I didn't expect her to because she had to transition and I had to let her go. I've started dating someone else. What happened between me and Chris and our experience, nothing's ever going to take from that. It's always going to be there. Um, Part of me will always love her simply because, that was my spouse. And, you know, the other night I was laying in bed and she seems to come through now when I need more emotional support. And she had one particular cologne she always wore. And she's the only person I've ever smelled wear it. So it's kind of a thing where I'm a very big person on smells. I absolutely smelt her come into the bedroom and I knew she was there. And I knew she was there because I was stressed. And she didn't have to say a thing. She didn't show herself or anything. But it made me feel better in that moment. It was kind of like, okay, you're not alone. The things that are kicking around in your head that have you stressed, you've got somebody here, even if they're not physical. So, I mean, she comes around. It used to be damn near every day. I mean, I couldn't even do periscopes because people would be hearing her and seeing her. And so, I mean, it's not like it used to be, no, but I think it's when it needs to be now, if that makes sense. Well, you have to understand too, just because, siblings or family doesn't necessarily show gifts now or discuss it openly, doesn't mean that exists gifts don't exist. I mean, a lot of times, especially in the older generation, they were terrified because especially if they grew up in a religious situation. I grew up in the deep south. You go talking about seeing things and hearing things, talking to people that aren't there, they're going to think you're possessed. Or, if you're a member of the Catholic Church, that's not a good thing either. I mean, but like I said, we've reached a point in the collective consciousness where people are being born every day that have skills and abilities in bloodlines and in families that never had track records of them previously. And it's just because we've reached that point in evolution collectively that we can allow them in and we can have them in. So, you could be a situation where you're the first timer in your bloodlines. And I think that's one reason I do so much about what I do is trying to educate people is because I cannot fucking imagine, excuse the language, how hard it would be to be in a family and no one be able to understand what it looks like to look at somebody and then melt, or to look at somebody and the physical be gone and all you see is what looks like the cosmos. And you know, okay, that's their aura and that dark spot's a sickness. And I can't imagine what it would be like to not be able to describe the, what feels like fucking acid trips in my head and then be like, okay, that's what that is. Or, you know, I can't. I can't imagine how hard it must be to have all these feelings and sensations and visuals and audibles in your head and not be able to convey it. And I mean, no, some people that have those things are legitimately mentally ill, though. I do not want to say, and I do not want people, because I had one woman come on one of my broadcasts and she got pissy. She was like, so you're saying all people that see and hear and feel are gifted? Not by any means. Mental health is a legitimate thing. Schizophrenia is a legitimate thing. You know, there is many mental conditions that are not spiritual gifts that need genuine mental health. Now, on the same note, there's many people in mental health that shouldn't be. They just really need trainers to get them to understand and comprehend what's going on within them. Oh, absolutely. Every single person on the planet has skills and abilities to some degree. You know, as like I said earlier, some of us can walk in a room and hear a piano being played and play it by ear instantly and note for note it'd be perfect. Some of us, in order to play that same piece, are going to have to take 5 years of training. But we can still achieve it. It's still there. It's still within us. The possibility is still within us. But we have to work a little harder. Some people just naturally, absolutely, I feel overwhelmed. Um, I honestly have not in about a month and a half. Well, I started this week. I started going back through my emails because I have worked a lot of cold cases. A lot of cold cases. I actually took the first one on again this week, and I haven't done any really since. Well, I did one since Chris passed, and it was just so stressful. So I said I'm not going to do any until I just really feel confident. But yeah, I got asked to help on another case this week, and I was also informed because I'd worked with this person previously that a case I had worked on with them before, you know, charges were being brought up this coming up week, and they had got enough information and all that they were going to solve a murder of a child that I worked on. And I have a lot of people that get mad because they feel like I shouldn't charge for readings. I have a lot of people that get mad because they message me and want to chat about things all day long. And I can't do that. I have people that feel like because we're friends, I'm supposed to read them for free. Or, you know, I have people that, well, I just want to ask one question and they shoot me a message and I'm like, okay, ask and I'll work you in. And that one question becomes a half hour reading and they want to give me $5 when I just sit and had to shift all of my energy and just spend a half hour of my time on them. I get overwhelmed, but it's not so much because of the work as much as how people treat it, because I don't think people comprehend the degree of mental and emotional heaviness and energy that's used in working. There are some people that look at what I do and they don't view it as working. When I say I'm working, they're like, well, you don't do a physical job. You can't comprehend what it feels like to be tired or stressed. It's fucking exhausting when all you're doing is thinking and thinking and thinking. Do you spend an hour on cold cases? What do you mean by that? Um, Usually, what people will do with me is when I work cold cases or missing persons cases, I don't charge for it. I don't even care if there's a reward. I don't charge for it because if it was my family or if I was in that situation, I would want someone to step up and help me. Sometimes it's pretty fucking easy. Sometimes, like I had a family contact me from South Carolina And this was right when Chris and I first got together, and she thought it was so funny. Usually, when I work cases, I will go by myself. I don't let people be around me because I experience it as the victim first, and then I experience it as the perpetrator. And so the pain, the suffering is not a beautiful thing to experience. And I imagine it's not a beautiful thing to watch. And for someone who can't comprehend, oh, wow, she's getting decapitated, that's what she's feeling, even though her head is still attached, it can be overloading for them as well because they feel the need to help you, to try to make you feel better or to touch you. And when they touch me, it brings their energy into the situation. I lose my whole train of thought. So I have to start at the beginning and experience it all again. So I usually work solo. When Chris and I first got together, we were painting the wall behind me and one in front of me. And I had talked to this family in South Carolina, and they knew who killed their son. They knew, he admitted that they could not find the body. Um, and I told him, I said, well, look, just give me a minute. And so I sat down for a couple minutes and I got a couple keywords and I went on Google and I started putting the keywords in and I found the area. And I said, do you know this road? And he said, yeah. He said, according to the GPS on the vehicle that the guy was in, he had been on that road 3 times in the period between when our son was took in his car and disappeared and when he turned himself in. I said, well, he's on this road. You go to that road and call me. So I sent him my number. So I go back to painting my wall, and me and Chris are painting away, and I just put it on speaker because he calls back and he's like, well, I'm here. And I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I said, I am your brother right now. I can see you through your brother's eyes, and I can see exactly where you are. I'm looking at you. And I explained exactly where he was at. And the man was flipping out because it was like I was looking at him, but I was his brother. And I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk you to where your brother's bones are. And so I walked him to exactly where his brother's bones were. And I said, now look down. And he looked down. He said, my God. And I said, I need for you to get off the phone with me. Do not move. GPS your location down to where it is. That way the police can find it. And I need for you to go back to the vehicle. Once you have the GPS location secure for the bones, contact the police department. And so sometimes it's very easy. Sometimes it's literally an hour. Sometimes it's 2 hours. Sometimes it's like with the case I was working on with the guy I just took the case this week on. I've worked with him before, and it's took us 2 years to get justice. It was a 14-year-old little boy, and he was pretty much assassinated in a park by a family member. And it's took a lot because the people involved were involved in law enforcement. And so you can't go the typical routes. You have to be smarter, and you have to know that the information that you get is solid. So that sucks. And that's another thing. People get mad at me because they send me cases all day long. I get between Instagram, Facebook, all my social medias, my regular email, my website email, probably 300 to 400 messages a day. And half of those are cold cases. And I don't advertise my cold cases, but it's almost like, sadly, when you experience tragedy and you have someone in your family that's been murdered, it's almost like you join a group, unfortunately, that you don't want to be a part of. And so somebody will say, well, Abby worked this case for me, or Abby did this, or Abby did that. And so it's word of mouth. People get mad at me because I messaged you in, February. And honestly, I will open my messages. And if I don't feel anything, I just go to the next message. And the cases I take that I work with are the ones that I feel like I can easily access information on. Excuse me. You can't eat my rug. My neighbors are tripping. Oh, good God. She's lost her mind. Don't eat my rug. Don't be asshole and eat rug. Look at all the strings on the floor. Look like little brown worms. They're little brown worms. Can't eat brown worms. Yeah. So I only work the cases I feel like I can do something with. Every so often, I will go through and I'll open my messages and read back through them. And if I get a pull, or, it's like I worked one case, and I remember this was years ago. I was in South Carolina. And I was reading for this woman, and I didn't know she worked for the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And I had worked a few cases before then, but nothing massive, not on like a big scale or any of that. It was more independent people in my area. She said, I have a question. Have you ever worked cold cases or missing persons cases? And I said, I've never really tried, because I'd never sat down and did it like with the intention of doing it. It had just been by fluke. Somebody I knew, or somebody I thought I knew, or whatever. And she said, I'm going to send you some pictures and you tell me what you get. Well, she sent me the picture of this little girl, and I'd seen the little girl in Nancy Grace. And I instantly knew the little girl because, like I said, I had watched Nancy Grace. And in that second, just me looking at her picture and opening up, she was standing beside me, and she just placed her arm on my hand, well, her hand on my arm. And it was like I got rewound in time. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like from the point she died to the point she met the guy that actually killed her. And I seen her get raped. I seen her get choked. I seen her get decapitated, and her body chopped to pieces. Um, Everything. And I don't work directly with families usually. I usually work with a representative, because families are so emotional that it is hard for me to, because of all of their sadness and sorrow and grief, to process the messages. They interfere with it. So it's easier to have a third party, police enforcement, um, the family representative, something. And so I seen exactly what had happened to her. And I messaged back and I said, I've got information on this one. And she said, okay. She said, here's what we're going to do. I know a local officer in the case that has worked with psychics before. I'm going to give him the information that you gave me, and we're going to see what happened. And so I told her, I said, here's where the torso is. And so she said the torso, and I said, yeah, that's it. And I still have never even been in that state. I was literally almost completely across the country from it. And I pulled up Google Maps and pinned it down and pinned it down and pinned it down and pinned it down. And I was like, I think it was 800 feet from the location I gave him, with me sitting all the way across the United States. They found her torso. And then he said, okay, you've got my attention. And he said, who did it? And I said, I don't know his name, but I can tell you exactly where he lives. I said, I need for you to stand in her driveway and walk. So he stood in her driveway, started walking, and I would tell him when to turn, because I was watching it through him and through her eyes. And I said, that's the house. And they went in and they actually found her hands and her head in a jar in the attic. And the father and the son was both registered sex offenders. So they found her. But I've done cases nonstop for a long time. There's easily over 400 I've done now. So it is what it is. It's just part of life. So, well, guys, I have been on here for 2 hours. Oh, if we're not going to do readings, I'm going to have to feed my face whole. Plus, my neighbor is schizophrenic. And I don't know if you can hear all the banging and the booming and the yelling in the background. Don't really think you'll want to hear her flip out and lose her shit. Do you believe we choose these situations before incarnating into our lives? Absolutely, to a degree. I believe we know what our end goals are, and I believe we say, okay, I would like to reach those end goals. And so we try to pick circumstances and situations and family members that will help us get to it. I don't feel as if it's concreted. So many people say, well, it's predetermined, it's this, it's that. Now, I believe our end goal, what we want to achieve is like determined. But I think we have the freedom and the liberties to pick and choose along the way. And I feel like that's part of the lesson. Do we stick to the path? Or do we, just not go, just go AWOL and balls to the wall and do what we want to do? On Facebook, you can find me at Reads by Abby Black. On here, and I think Twitter, it's SA_Abby Black. My website, if you're interested in incense and witchcraft related things, paranormal, metaphysical, it's As Above, a Witch's Spot. You can probably find me anywhere online. Just that Abby Black psychic medium. It's been nice meeting you too. I think I'm gonna get off here and I may even order a pizza because we need food. I don't feel like cooking. And my neighbor's gonna be tripping, so I'm gonna cut the TV on really loud. You're very welcome, Lee. And like I said, I'm gonna start coming back on here because I was just trying to get the website situated and going. And now that life's balanced out, I'm going to start coming on here probably at least every other day for a couple hours and doing some minutes. Yes. Thank you, Miss Sullivan. I adore you. You are such a. I need to make you a moderator. How can I do that? Invite user. Well, you're already on here. You's amazing. I'm gonna have to go in and make you a moderator. That way, if people get crazy, you can just like boot. Are you? I don't know how to do that. I don't know if I've done that, and if at some point in the beginning I figured it out and just forgot because I've not really used this app that much. So, cheese pizza does something really good. Oh God, shoulder hurts. God bursitis. It hurts. Did I have a good Halloween? I kept Halloween very sacred to me and to my people. Halloween is the New Year's. We don't view it as like New Year's like most people. So for me, it's crucial. Hold on, I'm knocking stuff off and I gotta charge my phone. So I see that. You don't have to go and bump it. You're a troublemaker. Okay. Let me plug this phone in. It's going dong, 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 dong. Y'all on your ears. Just saying. Okay. So like I was saying, New Year's is Samhain. So we call it Samhain. So that's our New Year's. That's where we figure out what we want to get rid of, as far as traits, things we see negative in ourselves, behaviors, interactions with people, toxic situations, whatever. We look at it and we say, okay, I want to evaluate and I want to get rid of it. And then we go in and we say, okay, well, what do I welcome in its place? So for me, this year it was crucial because last year it was chaotic. And this was the first Halloween I've really ever been alone. And I've had a lot of personal growth in the last couple of years because of my own obstacles I've had to overcome. So I decided I wanted to spend my Halloween alone. And I wanted to make it very intimate. And I wanted to have a ritual. And basically shed the toxicity and the negativity that I had seen within myself. And, basically open a door for positive things to come in. And so, yeah, that's what I did. My Halloween was amazing, but it was me and a dog. And about 1 o'clock, I opened some peach Moscato and I put on some kind of documentary because I don't really watch television in the sense of like shows. I watch documentaries, argue with how history really played out, that kind of thing. So yeah, I drank some Moscato, just sat in candlelight and watched the documentary. It was nice. Cannot complain. All right, guys. You be good to you. I will be around. I don't know what it's called, but I've seen people put apples in apartments and leaves. Oh, yeah, you can do that. Sometimes, well, people used to bob for apples also, but you can actually cook it down on your oven and make like a hottie toddy and mix it with booze, and you get the apple infusion and the cinnamon, and yeah, and sometimes it just smells nice in your house too. And smelled then, so it's good. So it's really good with cloves and cinnamon and apple, and it's even good with oranges and cloves. It's phenomenal. So kind of puts the energy out into the atmosphere and the air that you want to attract that. So you guys think about apples. Dude, yeah, I was gonna go on a rant about apples and educate you on that, but I need to fucking eat. All right, people. I love you guys. I'll be back. Like I said, I'm gonna start doing it every couple days. If you haven't followed me, if you were a newbie here and you enjoy the content, subscribe. Find me on my other social medias. Go check out my shop. Um, I do private messages, private readings, half hours and hour long sessions. I also do energy work where I align chakras, remove blockages, do spiritual deep cleanses, just basically clean slate. You can message me for all of that. Right? All right. Bless you. Bless all of y'all. Good night. Goodbye. Bye.